Previously on the Cult Popture podcast, we discussed that we thought Sean Connery was the worst Bond. And you know what? I think Roger Moore is the best Bond.
How dare you say that? Please explain your thoughts.
Someone mentioned to us that, like, you're forgetting the fact that James Bond is the gentleman spy, and that's supposed to be what Sean Connery exemplifies. That term stuck with me, the 60s gentleman spy, and I think that's what Roger Moore really nails. He's so charming and he's gentlemanly, and it's actually like one of, if not his very last line, that I was able to pinpoint this is what it is, and it's in A View to a Kill, when at the end of it, as you say, the fight takes place on the Golden Gate Bridge, and him and the love interest are stuck up there, and he says,
"There's never a cab when you want one."
Because obviously cabs don't drive up to the top of the Golden Gate Bridge because they can't fly. It sort of struck me in that moment, is that, like, he's making this joke to make her feel safe. He's not making light of the situation. He doesn't not give a shit about it. Roger Moore identifies that she's terrified by the situation, so he makes a joke to sort of calm her and ease her. But that really struck me, and that exemplified the gentleman spy that they're going for. Is that it's the gentlemanly thing to do, and also it fits James Bond as quippy and all that kind of thing.
Many of the contemporary critical responses to the Moore era are the most British complaints, and they all lament Roger Moore for being too silly, but it's silly by British standards, you know what I mean? And so from the perspective of a New Zealander in 2020, I'm just going to say it, Richard, Roger Moore Bond isn't that silly. It's actually a pretty subdued silliness, and when it becomes a problem, I think it's because it's subdued silliness. It's not radical. It's things like the pigeon or the slide whistle. It evokes images in my head of old British men chortling at these wacky ideas and being like, and then Bond makes the most daft yet cutting pun, that's what it is. It's like a very haughty-taughty idea of what silliness is. And I think that, with what you're saying, combined with that being the biggest criticism of him as a character, I think you're right. I think he is maybe not the best character we've seen James Bond be, but the best James Bond.